Hey everyone, I'm Pion and welcome to Headliner. What is Headliner, you ask? I like to call it a choose your own headline game. It's gonna release on the 3rd of October and this is what it looks like. So this is a fairly short story-driven game which you are supposed to replay multiple times because you have fairly big impact on the story and get various different results in the end. And it's about, well, being the headliner of a newspaper. So you choose headlines, you choose different articles to get printed in your newspaper. This is my office and this is my liaison, this woman here, and she talks to you every morning. The game is split in 6 or 7 days, and she tells you every morning what's up, what you have to do this day, and how well we did the last few days, like how much people bought and read our newspaper, and gives you some tips along the way. So she greets me here with I will be your new liaison. So let me say we are glad to have you in the Gal Media family. Here are today's story pitches for you to review. We'll publish online immediately after your approval. You may approve as many as you wish, but we might have more restrictions later on. This is the first day of the game, so this will be a short tutorial. We're gonna click through it. It's not that complicated. Remember, we need a hard angle to stick to. Whatever gets our readers riveted. How do you pronounce that? Riveted? I don't know. Riveted, probably. And you are up for a promotion if you can get your ratings up, so make it juicy. So she's trying to convince you to stick to one side on the various different controversies. So in this world, the game plays in, it takes place in multiple controversies going on. One of the debates is that there are genital modifications, and a lot of people have those, and it makes them get less sick and be more efficient and stuff like that. But there are also purists who refuse to take any of those modifications, and there's a controversy going on between the two groups, who's better and who's right, and things like that. And there are a lot of articles about that. There's also a festival coming up, which is this article about, for example, and there's also a conflict which will become war later on in a neighboring state. And we're gonna try to get through the tutorial really quick. Just ignore the message popping up. Basically, what you can do is you read the article, or it's not the whole article, it's just the first few lines and the headline, obviously. And then you have to choose if you want this article to be printed, give it a green stamp, or not printed, give it the rejected red stamp. So we're gonna accept this article, and now we have to go for the other articles, and on the first day we can just do whatever, but on later days there will be restrictions on how many articles you can post, and how many articles you have to post. Like there will minimum and maximum numbers, which will affect your choices, obviously. So this is, for example, an article about the purists and economic burden. As unmodified mandatory dwindles to a meager 7%, studies once again showed their job performance lags behind. Is it ethical to continue offering them the same benefits and tax exemptions as the rest of the population? Are regular citizens burning in unfocused? So this is obviously an anti-purist or pro-modification article, and we can decide to post it or not. And our liaison suggested that we stick to one side of the topic. Because that creates more interest in our viewers, not viewers, readers, sorry. But you also might be inclined to give a balanced picture and post pro and anti articles to every controversy. And if whatever you do, whatever you choose, will have various impacts on the game. So let's just go with rejecting this article for the moment. Then there is another article about unrest at our doorstep. That's what I mentioned earlier. It's a problem in a neighbor state. Lyris officials expressed concerns over the amassing of egg-resistant troops close to their eastern border. We will not succumb to provocation, stated President Kalstrow this morning. Galicia cannot stand silent while our neighbor is threatened. Galicia is the country we are in. It's a fantasy setting. Well, not fantasy, it's a sci-fi setting, but not too far in the future. It's like, I don't know, a few decades, I guess, in the future. You can mainly see it based on or it's mainly, that guess of mine is mainly based on the fact that there are heavily genetic modifications going on. Besides that, the world seems to be pretty similar to ours technology-wise. Modifications 101, from preventing genetic diseases to increasing learning aptitude and altering physical traits like eye color. Here's a primer on how embryo modification can affect your children. So some articles are more neutral than others. There are also these different color clips. I'm gonna explain in the next day because they will actually be explained by the game at that point. So we're gonna approve that article, and let's approve that one as well. And then there's a purist marriage discrimination. So this is a pro-purist article. Let's go with that as well. Why not? And Also, you can see there is a note of my wife on the desk. At the beginning of the game, you choose your gender, the gender of your well, husband or wife, and of your partner, I should say, and the names for yourself, your partner, and your daughter. You cannot choose the gender of your daughter or your child, so it's always a daughter. But you can choose your own gender, and that's the one of your partner. You can go gay if you want, or just go regular. So yeah, that's the first day done. We approved all articles, so what we're gonna do now is leave the office and walk our way home. And this is the game is basically split in 3 parts: the office, the way home, and the dining table. And this is the way home and the dining table are used to show you consequences on what you chose during the office days. Well, actually, you could say it's split in 4 parts, because at the beginning of the office day, there's also the regular talk with the liaison, and she gives you some feedback on what's happened as well. So now we're walking through the city, and we can overhear what other people say and see some effects going on in the city as well. Yeah, let's just do that. Dude, I'm so excited for the festival. So these people are excited because I posted an article about the festival. That makes sense. This part is fairly well done, I think. It gives you feedback in a fairly, well, not really subtle way, but in a very natural way. Like, it's not just saying you, oh, this and this happened because you did that and that, but you can observe the effects of what you did. And that's a kind of interesting way of doing so. And there will be more impactful things going on later on. The first day is fairly harmless because it's mainly people talking about things that were up in the newspaper. And Jesse, I'm worried about that conflict in Lieres. Don't worry, babe, I'm sure it will work out. Haven't you heard the news? Is not looking good. So she's basically afraid because I posted that article. And that's the dining table part of the game, where you have a conversation with your family. And that's probably the most, not probably, this is well, I wanted to say the most text based part of the game, but that's not true, because the first part of the game in the office is obviously reading about a lot of articles, so no. But this is the game part of the game with the most conversations, so you have pretty long conversations with your family in this part of the game, actually. So let's just go through this one. Hey honey. Hi dad, dinner's almost ready. How was your day? I know you can choose. I can say tiring, for example. Oh, sorry to hear that. I feel you. I had this cranky woman today. I kept saying I gave her the wrong pills. I pointed at her prescription, but she kept saying that's not what I got last time. Maybe you made a mistake? No way. I've been working at the pharmacy for half a decade. I know it inside out. Finally had to call the manager, who pretty much said the same thing. She stormed out in a huff. God, people can be such twats. Amen. Most of the people are grateful for their pills, plus the job pays well and it comes with perks. My boss is really laid back too, been letting me take more breaks, having a hard time getting through the day. Same stuff as the past few months, a few hours in, and my energy crashes. Sometimes there's a headache and nausea. Aren't the painkillers helping? Yeah, a bit, thank God for employee discounts, but I feel like it's been getting worse. Take it easy, okay? Thanks, Pion. Anyway, I was skimming your latest news articles on my break. Caught the piece about marriage discrimination. Can't believe your tabloid is supporting people staying unmodified. Marriage is just another establishment to chain us together. I'm just saying the issues seemed a bit one-sided. Well, it's your paper, Dad, so you can publish whatever you want, right? Pretty much. But your father has responsibility to the readers. Gotta cover all sides of an issue fairly. I have to be interesting. Yeah, I get that, but millions of people read the news and form opinions based on it. Things are already getting rowdy with Galaxy's anniversary, priest discrimination, modified health issues. Hopefully things don't escalate before the festival. Oh yeah, Tony and his bunch are making signs for us to march with. Don't get too involved with that stuff, you're graduating soon, not guarding. Have you made a decision about your secondaries? Been thinking about it. Enjoy a bit of fun after stressful exams. Sure, but don't forget what really matters, it's your future we're talking about here, young lady. Speaking of which, I've been thinking about making something for the festival, maybe a new set of plates. Going back to pottery, mom? And so on, so on. Let's just skip through that now, shall we? Okay, so, okay, I guess it was only a few more sentences. Anyway, let's get to the next guy, and here she's back. and telling us how well we did last day. Great response to our publication yesterday. The bit on purist marriage discrimination sparked a lot of comments. You picked a strong pro-purist angle, let's stick to that. By now you might have noticed we use different color clips for certain articles. 3 red clips is an opt, where we take a stance on heat issue. Do you pronounce that way? Opt? I don't know. 2 blues is for info pieces keeping the populace informed, and 1 yellow is for feedback outcome of topics we covered before and our influence. Don't worry, I put a sticky note on your desk, you'll get used to it. Today we've got some stories contesting for the same spot that needs to be filled. So if you see 2 stories doubled together, you must approve one of them, the other will be rejected automatically. Remember, a little controversy never hurts the ratings. So that's a really nice and minor detail, but I appreciate that the developers decide to do it. So the articles are marked with those clips, but it's not just colors, it's also number. Like it's 2 ways, like 2 different ways of giving the same information. This is especially important for people who are colorblind. I'm not, but it's still useful. Like if you're colorblind, you can still distinguish them because this one has 2 and this one has 3 clips. And I think that's just a very minor thing, but it's a very nice touch. And so yeah, I appreciate that. My wife told me to get dog food on my way back, and now this is these controversy, or not controversy, conflicting articles. We have to choose one side or the other, and as I said earlier, we can either try to stick to one side of the discussion, or can try to be balanced, and it has various effects on the game, and especially on our job as well, because our newspaper will not do well if we post balanced points of views. But our family will probably appreciate it, and it has effect on the populace as well. So let's just go with a few rejections and approvals here. So if we approve that one gets rejected, and the other way around. Festival less than a week away. The Tina Grimspan arrives. Let's approve that as well. She's a singer for the festival, but there's a controversy surrounding her as well, because people claim that she's a purist. And let's reject that. And there's the war going on. God damn it. Let's reject that as well to keep the populace quiet. And let's stick to one angle of the story. Okay, so now we leave again. And now we got the second day, or the second way home. And as you can see, someone sprayed liars on our headquarters. I'm not quite sure when that happens, like based on which choice that happened. And they're talking about Tima Crimspawn now. Oh, interesting. Okay, so I never chose a heavy pro-purist stance before. So usually I ended up with having a lot of... oh no, actually that happens later. Wait. Let's not get confused. Where's the... Okay, still. So usually what happens at date 2 to me, or whenever I played so far, I played like two games, I think. This store is blocked by people barricading it because there's a purist living here, and the modification or the anti-purist people will try to, well, yeah, get the store closed. So you cannot get dog food, but well, since I sticked to a pro-purist angle, I can get the dog food now. So my wife will be happy, so that's good. So people are talking again. Jesse, I've been looking up tickets to Lyris for our honeymoon. Great, baby, I'm so excited, it will be perfect. So now they're going to Lyris because I didn't actually post about the war going on there. So as you can see, there are various things going on and happening, and these dining table discussions or dialogues will be heavily influenced by what you posted on the newspaper as well. So I don't think I want to show you more of this. Let me just talk a little bit about it and then wrap up the video. So as I said, the game is fairly short. It's only 6 or 7 days, and then the festival comes and the game is over and you get a short resume. And the game is, for the most part, pretty good in giving you feedback on your things, and it gives you feedback in very natural ways. I like that. Like the way home gives you feedback by just observing people or overhearing people and seeing like protests in the street and stuff like that. And if you if security gets increased based on what you posted, then you will get into a security check from the police and stuff like that, and you will be able to get dog food or not and other things like that. So that's kind of interesting. And then your family will be heavily impacted by what you do as well. Like depending on what you choose, the job of your wife might get in danger or not, and your daughter might do different things as well. And your job gets in danger as well, because if your newspaper is not doing well, you might get fired. If you're doing well, however, you get a promotion. So there's a lot of different things going on, and the game is, for the most part, as I said, pretty good at giving you fairly natural feedback about it, except for the ending. I really enjoyed the game on my first playthrough, right up to the ending, and when the ending came around, I was heavily disappointed. It was such a letdown for me. Basically, what the ending is, so you end the last day, and what's happening is that you get a short summary on various different topics, like one sentence on each. So what happened to your wife, what happened to your job, what happens to your daughter, what happened to the purist debate, what happened to the conflict in the war and the refugee crisis from your neighbors, and what happened to the festival. And it's one sentence each, and then there's the end of the game. And I found that this is a fairly big letdown to me anyway, and I tried to figure out why. And my conclusion is that the problem here is that for the most part, or during the game gives you feedback on what you did, or consequences to what you choose earlier by having to live through it. Like you have to talk to your family, you have to walk down, walk home through the street and stuff like that. So you feel the impact on what you did. But right in the end of the game, it just tells you. It doesn't show you, it just tells you. It doesn't let you experience, it just tells you straight up what the result is. And if you compare that to a game like, let's say, Papers, Please, which has a similar, not a similar theme, but it's a similar core idea. You make decisions and that will have consequences. And in that game, you experience those consequences very heavily on your own as well, because you have to get food and medicine for your family and stuff like that. And if you make the wrong choices, then this will become difficult. But during the gameplay as well, during the week, this works fairly well in this game as well. But at the end, it just tells you without make you feel or experience the consequences, or even see them actually. And that was just a huge letdown to me. However, I have to admit that the consequences are like you really have impact on the story of the game, like heavily. You can get to very different results in the end, and they all feel very natural. Like you can really see, okay, I did choose to do that and that and that and publish these articles, and you can really kind of, like, it makes sense. The result makes sense. It's just a conclusion or just a consequence of your actions, and that works really, really well. I have to give the game credit for that. I just think that the presentation of the ending is a little lackluster, to say the least. Overall, it's pretty fun though, I have to say. It's fairly short, and it takes you, I don't know, I think less than an hour to play through. And there is a good reason to play it multiple times, because you can go you can go down very different routes. So that's definitely an interesting thing to do. So yeah, let's go to the option menu really quick. Well, I guess go to the main menu, shall we? Really quick. So that's the intro screen. So you have actually interesting. Wait, I just realized that there's a wait. Let's get back in there. I just realized that the option menu in game is more in depth than the option menu in the main menu. Ha! Okay, so we actually have different sound sliders. I didn't know that. Okay, so we have separate sound sliders, 4 actually. That's a lot. And then there's a window mode. However, I think, yeah, full screen is actually borderless window, so there's no real window mode. So let's quit out again. Yes, that's unusual design of UI as well. So besides that, there are no options, so no resolution options and nothing. But having separate sound slides is okay. And besides that, you don't need much in a game like that. Like, you don't need key bindings, obviously, because there's not much to press, and you don't need like advanced graphics options because it's fairly simple graphics. However, like, they're simple, but they look definitely good. Like, you can like or dislike the art style, but they definitely look good and polished. Like, it's a good art style and works very well, I think, in my opinion. So one more thing to talk about is the save state system. So you have 3 profiles where you can start new games or continue from there. And I like that you have multiple save states. However, I don't like the fact that it's limited to 3, because here's the thing: when you complete the game, we can jump back in there and basically play the epilogue again, so the last day, and getting the results of your playthrough. And so that allows you to basically save different endings or collect multiple endings in your different profiles. And that's why I don't like that this is limited to 3, because I see some people being interested in actually collecting multiple endings and like collecting like all the different outcomes, not necessarily all the combinations, because there are a lot of different combinations you can get to, but like at least getting every option once in some combination or something along those lines. And I feel that having 3 save slots for that is not enough. So I don't know, it's a weird choice games do sometimes, like Tektronics is doing that as well for most of their games, having only 3 save slots. I don't know why. I really hate when games do that. Why not just give me unlimited save slots? There's no reason not to. It's not a big issue designing, like it's not hard to design unlimited save slot from a UI perspective, and from a development perspective, it doesn't make a fucking difference whatsoever. So I don't know. This is just, yeah, it's unnecessary. It's not a big letdown, however, obviously. It's not a big deal. So, yeah. Overall, I enjoyed the time I had with it. I enjoyed my first playthrough. And the ending was a letdown, but didn't, like, destroyed my experience I had during the first playthrough. It was a letdown, but it didn't make it worse. Like, if I like to compare it to some TV shows I watched or something. Like, I enjoyed watching the season, but the season final kind of ruined the whole season. And that's usually when the season, like the episodes before the final, rely on building up hype or mysteries, and then the conclusion is a letdown. But that's not true for this game, because you actually get consequences, direct consequences during the gameplay, and there's not just like, you're not waiting only for the ending. You experience all the consequences and the fun, or not necessarily fun, but the gameplay already while you play. And so the ending was a letdown, but didn't destroy the experience, as I said. So that was not too big a deal, but the ending was enough of a letdown for me to not really want to play it the second time. I didn't finish it the second time. I started the second time for basically research, and now for the recording, obviously. But I don't intend to finish it another time, because, yeah, the ending was, personally to me anyway, a letdown. I don't think it has to be for everyone. Some people might enjoy the ending, but for me, it just didn't work that well. Anyway, it's still a game I would recommend if you're interested in these kinds of games, because it's very well done. And oh yeah, one more point I want to talk about really quickly before I wrap up. The one thing that breaks the illusion a little bit is that your newspaper has way too much influence on everything. Like, the consequences you get for your choices are, like, they feel way too impactful. Like, it's just like you just published a few articles. That's not gonna change the world in a few days, or the country anyway. But that's what's happening in this game, and that feels a little weird. I guess it makes sense from a gameplay standpoint, but it's still, it feels a little bit weird and breaks the illusion a little bit, but it's not too big of a deal. So anyway, if you're interested in it, link is in the description below. Game is called Headliner. It's gonna release on the 3rd of October. I'm TH Pion. Thanks a lot for watching. Have fun and see you next time.